It's not difficult to create just any old superhero. It does, however, take something truly special to create one who feels genuine. Not just someone who exists, but one who lives and breathes. Whether it's because they feel the need to avenge their loved ones, to live up to a given legacy, or even for their own personal gain, superheroes rarely ever suit up for the same reason. Also worth noting is just how much these motivations diverge between Marvel and DC, with the former's stories typified by flawed but well-intentioned protagonists, and the latter more so by classic heroes compelled to act out of a sense of duty. It's not the case that it's one rule for one publisher and one for the other, but no character is the same and all have their own personal histories that have inspired them to do good. So, I'm Ewan, this is What Culture Comics, and here are 10 comic heroes with the best motivations. Number 10, Daredevil. The man without fear himself, Matt Murdock takes to the streets of Hell's Kitchen to punish the guilty and protect the innocent. Lawyer by day and vigilante by night, this hero has featured in some of Marvel's most important stories and is synonymous with the medium's best and brightest, so it should come as no surprise to hear that his motivations are fairly complex. Taught to use his gifts for good, Murdock becomes an expert in martial arts but eventually falls out of favour with his master stick. Matt then decides to become a lawyer, wanting to protect the innocent from injustice through legal means, before eventually going into business with longtime friend Franklin Foggy Nelson as a defense attorney. Throughout his life, Daredevil has been ravaged by internal torment. He despises injustice no matter its form, and is also motivated in part by his Catholic faith. All the while, Murdock is desperate to fight for those who cannot themselves through legal and not so legal means. That, despite his flaws, makes him a hero to be admired. Number 9, Professor X. Charles Xavier first discovered that he was a mutant at a young age and kept it a secret for years. It was only after he'd completed his education that he revealed his powers to the world, using his gifts and the wealth left behind by his parents to protect mutants when humanity only sought to do harm against them. The dichotomy between Xavier and longtime friend turned enemy Magneto is a curious one. Both were intended as analogues of civil rights leaders Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, and though Charles's commitment to pacifism has tested the patience of his friends and allies, there's no denying his real-life roots have created a memorable comic book icon. Xavier does what few other heroes can do, in that he lays bare the pressures of being an activist who faces discrimination. He shows such restraint every day in the face of immense hate and prejudice, and yet, even though that is the case, he and his X-Men will always be there to protect mutant and humankind together. Number 8, Wonder Woman. Princess Diana of Themyscira hails from an island populated by the Amazons, a reclusive people who've existed since the gods of ancient Greece roamed the earth, and yet she can't help but be drawn to the outside world. When US Air Force pilot Steve Trevor crash lands on Themyscira, Diana embarks on a quest to see man's world and stays to fight the good fight. All throughout, Diana always believes in humanity's potential, championing peace while brandishing her weapons to take on those who'd seek to cause harm against those in need. She's a warrior, a princess, and one beholden to the values of truth, justice, and pacificism. Look it up, it's not the same thing as pacifism, the more you know. Either way, it makes Wonder Woman a uniquely interesting figure in DC's pantheon of heroes, not just as the publisher's fiercest combatant, but as its biggest champion for heroism in general. Number 7, Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan. There are so many reasons as to why Kamala Khan has endeared herself to Marvel fans as quickly as she has. But undoubtedly one of the biggest is that she's such a unique hero, and one who's quintessentially modern in the sense that she's just as much a fangirl of the publisher's library as we all are. Kamala is a Pakistani-American teen who, when subjected to the transformative effects of the Terrigen Mists, is given the power to shapeshift on command. Having idolized Carol Danvers her entire life, Kamala takes on the identity of Ms. Marvel and stops supervillains while teaming up with her favorite heroes, presenting a new dynamic on books like Champions, Avengers, and of course her own series. There is so much to love about Kamala, not just in terms of her illustrating the value of true representation, but also in how she engages with the Marvel Universe. She fights crime not just to honor herself, but to honor all those heroes who came before her. Number 6, Superman. To the average cynic, Superman is an uninteresting figure with no flaws to speak of. He has the perfect secret identity, the perfect hero persona, and the perfect set of powers. How could that, so the old argument goes, be any interesting? The fact of the matter is that the Man of Steel is one of the most inspiring DC characters ever conceived. Kal-El falls to Earth as the sole survivor of an alien race, is raised by a pair of humble farmers, and somehow, within him, always manages to do right by his adopted planet. He doesn't use his godlike gifts to wreak terror on those who threaten him, nor does he interfere for partisan benefit. The last son of Krypton is above it all, and is a living testament to the idea that, no matter where you come from, everyone has the capacity to do good. But that isn't to say that Clark Kent is flawless either. Judging when it's right to intervene when he has the power to feasibly stop anything he wanted to isn't easy. And it might even be true that the Man of Steel's occasional naivete has led him astray on more than one occasion. Be that as it may, it only adds to Superman's appeal. He wants to save the Earth on its own terms, and in championing truth and justice, DC have one of the most fantastic heroes in the medium. Number 5, Hellboy. I don't really get to talk about Hellboy enough on this channel, but you should all know that he's one of my absolute favourite creations. His original series, the BPRD and its related spin-offs, Hellboy in Hell, all of it is wonderful, and something any discerning comics fan would do well to invest in if they love horror, comedy, and the aesthetic qualities of Mike Mignola's pencils. For all that Mignola's art can be praised, insert clip of Steve I Can Do This All Day Rogers right here, it's the creator's characterization of Hellboy specifically that deserves special attention. Anung Unrama is sardonic, innocent, and fiercely independent. At the same time, he's also an occult specialist, an expert investigator, and a skilled fighter. He does all of this while threatened with a prophecy that claims he will bring an end to the Earth, and it's that constant battle against destiny, ostensibly, that drives him. Put simply, Hellboy is a man who cannot sanction the idea that he's walking uncontrollably to the apocalypse. Neither can he abide being used by an organization, the BPRD, that treats monsters so carelessly, and so he leaves them in the 90s to embark on his own journey. He's a hero that doesn't want to fight, a demon that loves the living, and a man who would be king. He's been to hell and back, but all he wants to do is live his own life and help those in need, whether they're of the living or of the dead, and eat lots of pancakes. Number 4, Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing is the superhero genre's very own eco-warrior, and given how there's a dearth of them going around in both Marvel and DC, it's only right that he's considered to have one of the most compelling motivations in the biz. Disheartening though it may be to learn that, in the years since Swamp Thing has been introduced, no major progress has been made in regards to global warming, it's nice to know that the protector of the green is still out there fighting for Mother Nature day in, day out. He's a protector of Earth in the most literal sense, and while other heroes dedicate their time to protecting the human race, the Green's foremost champion serves a valuable purpose in looking after all aspects of nature. Number 3, Booster Gold. When he first appeared, Booster Gold was not a pleasant individual. Hailing from the future, Gold reveres the heroes of the 20th and 21st centuries and decides to travel back through time in search of fame and glory. Although Gold is motivated primarily out of a sense of self-preservation and ego, he soon comes to understand the real value of true heroism. Eventually, it's no longer greed that drives him, but instead a profound sense of responsibility. When he first traveled back through time, Booster didn't realize just how much power he could wield. Now he uses that knowledge and understanding to save people from harm, and fight injustice whenever it appears. Who doesn't love a good character arc? Number 2, Black Panther. Black Panther is finally getting the mainstream recognition he's deserved since he first burst onto the scene in 1966, and that's also actually become one of the most gratifying things to see play out in recent years. There are plenty of reasons why he's so revered, one of the foremost being his representational qualities in a movie franchise dominated by white stars, but undoubtedly one of the biggest is what drives him. King T'Challa is a hero unlike any other, and that stems largely from the context surrounding Wakanda. The nation has come to symbolize all of the continent's potential lost by centuries of imperial conquest, and the country, along with its ruler, stands out as one of Marvel's most salient symbols. The Black Panther is the king of Wakanda, and not just any ordinary hero. His first responsibilities are to serve and protect Wakanda and its citizens, and this brings with it plenty of its own challenges. Plenty of writers have told Black Panther stories within the prism of geopolitics, diplomacy, and African history, and it's proven to be a winning formula. Most heroes have a lot of responsibility, but T'Challa holds the weight of his nation's expectations on his shoulders. Few, if any, characters can boast that same kind of drive, and it's what makes him so special. Number 1. Captain America. Steve Rogers might be synonymous with the good old US of A, but he's a hero to us all as much as he is to Americans specifically. A scrawny artist from Brooklyn desperate to fight the tyrannical advances of Nazi Germany, Rogers is given an opportunity to serve alongside the Allies with the advent of the super soldier serum. He becomes one of a kind, channeling his desire to do right into a body that has the potential to affect change on a major scale. Rogers is the model superhero, but he can't be put into a box. He isn't overly moralistic, but he is beholden to the values of truth and justice. He opposes tyranny no matter its origin, and that's often put him at odds with the country he chose to serve back during the Second World War. That makes him a patriot in the truest sense, with various writers and artists having taken Rogers' New Dealer attitudes and applied them to a contemporary political zeitgeist, whether that be the Watergate era of the Nixon presidency in the original Secret Empire, or even the post-9/11 politics of the Bush administration in 2006's Civil War. He's prone to the occasional mistake, but one thing that cannot be in doubt is that Steve Rogers is determined to do right. Easily misappropriated, but every bit as progressive and brave as his creators Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, Captain America never gives up. He's too good not to.